Hey there, everyone. My name is Ron Lewis with the Awakening State Podcasts, and here we go. So, what I would like to talk a little bit about today is um, conditional and unconditional. and let me just pull something up here real quick. So you can have my crib notes here ready to go. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was fooling around with a little poem, and I come up with a little verse here. It says, "Conditional is a scheme that crushes the dreams of those who freedom speak. They create the hell where dead ones dwell as they enslave and exploit the weak." You see, conditional is not the normal. Unconditional is the normal. And I mentioned the hell where the dead ones dwell. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that, um, well, the master said, let the dead bury the dead. Now, how could dead bury the dead? So, what was meant by that is that there's two kinds of dead. Okay, dead physically and dead consciously or spiritually. So when someone is dead unconsciously, okay, they're not aware of their true divine nature and identity. So they're dead. Now, there's a parable about the prodigal son, and I'm not going to get into the whole story, but you can, if you Google prodigal son, you can read the parable for yourself. But the basic story is a son wanted his inheritance. So his father said, sure, take it. And he traveled away to a city, got involved with, like today would say, partying, drugs, women, um, gambling, all kinds of things. It'd be like he took his inheritance and went to Las Vegas and blew it all. Okay. So when he was left with nothing, he came back. Well, first, when he had nothing, he got so bad that he was living with the pigs, was eating the food of the pigs. And because he was so down and out, he remembered who he was. He became conscious of his true identity. Okay. And so he went home. He goes, this is not who I am. I'm going to go back to where I belong. Then when he got back there, his father said, basically ran out, threw his arms around him, and said, my son was dead. Okay, there's that dead again. And now he's alive. But his son was never dead. Um, but he was dead consciously of he was dead in the fact that he wasn't conscious of where he belonged and who he was. So he was dead. He says, my son was lost, now he's found. But the point, an interesting point here, is no matter whether his son was dead or his son was alive, no matter whether his son was lost or found, what was he to the Father? He was still his son. Okay, so I'm making this point because no matter if we're in an unconscious state where we don't remember our true divine nature and we're doing crazy things, or if we are conscious or if we're lost or whatever we're doing, the fact is we are still all divine children of the most high one life that lives us all. So if someone tells you we're not all God's children, we're not all God's children, um, okay, that's not true. Perhaps we're not God's conscious children, but we're still his children. Okay. And um, so there's a scripture that says, God is not slow, or the great one life that lives us. I use Allah because God, is just so vague. Okay. It does not represent the true divine one source. To use the word God, 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 Dios. I mean, you can use it as long as you're referring to the one great life. I just like Eloha, Aloha, uh, Alaha. I like that because it's a description that means the one great life that lives us all. There's really Yahweh, Jehovah, um, Yahweh. That's not a name, that's a description. Okay. It means I am who I am. That's a description. That's not a name. Okay. But anyway, so in the prodigal son, the father called him his son, regardless of the state he's in. So we are all divine children. Now, I'm going to get back to the conditional and unconditional in a minute. Okay. So we have to work on remembering who we are. And this is really the whole point of this podcast, is to take back our true divine nature and divine identity. So I'm going to be mentioning this every time I speak because it is a message that we have to get across. We are not a slave. We are not meant to be slaves of the system. We are we are not meant to be programmed uh, into a fake system. And the master said we have to deny our fake identity and take on our true identity. Um, okay. So now let's get into this conditional and unconditional that I'd like to talk about. You see, we are born, when we come to this earth, planet, plane, we are born into a conditional system. Okay. Um, we toil and slave away in order to pay. It's another little rhyme, right? But in the unconditional divine realm, we work to give instead of slaving in order to pay. Because that's the only way we will ever be happy. Okay. The master said, there is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. And that declaration entails so much. Okay. On the surface, it seems quite basic. Okay. Like, oh, yeah, if I give, I'll be happy. Okay. But the real meaning of it runs very deep and very profound. For one, the giving has to be unconditional. Unconditional. Okay. It has to resonate from our true divine identity and nature. Okay. We must give because of who we are as divine beings. The giving is for no other reason than who we are, our true divine identity. Okay. And we have to remember who we are. We don't give to get something in return. We don't give to become someone like, oh, look at me. I'm a great politician. I'm a giver. I'm going to give you guys stuff. All you have to do, oh, here's a condition. All you have to do is vote for me, vote me into office. That's a condition. And then I'll give. Okay. We do not give to get something or to be someone. Okay. And we don't give to get happiness in return. Oh, what, Ron? You just said there's more happiness in giving than receiving, right? Okay. Well, how is that? We're going to explain. We give because it is our pure divine nature to do so. That's it. Period. No strings attached, okay? And no money involved whatsoever. So we are placed in this conditional world into a money based system. Money is conditional. Money is purely conditional. That's it. It is a conditional system. Okay. You want food, you got to pay. You want a roof over your head, you got to pay for it. You're not going to just be able to live wherever. Okay. You're not even going to be able to build your own little shack and live in it. No, no, no. You got to pay taxes on that little shack. You have to get permits to build the little shack. No, it's not free. So you're going to have to pay for those permits. And if you might pay up to two or three, four, $5,000 for a permit, maybe even more. Okay. Then it has to be inspected. See, the government has got their grubby little paws into everything that you want to do. You want to travel from point A to point B, you got to pay. That's the way it is. You know, you know, you want fire, you got to pay. You want water, you got to pay. Somehow you're going to pay for it. Either your utility water bill or your bottled water, you got to pay. You want dirt, guess what? If you want land to plant flowers and uh, food and run your livestock on, it's not free. Oh, you might have a deed to the land and you can, but you know what? The government says no, 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 no. You can't just do everything. And sometimes I grew up on a farm, and sometimes the government says, well, you can't farm that land. No, 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 no. It's got a set. You can't do that. You farmed it too much. Now it's just got a set for a few years. Yeah. Uh, you can't do what you want in this system, the money system, the money machine. In another podcast, I read my poem about the money machine, lean and mean, compassion unseen. And as we burn up like exhaust in its flame, who will remember we once had a name? Okay. So you got to pay. And now they're working on a way, okay, uh, to make you pay for the air you breathe with their environmental fees and taxes. So sure, we're going to breathe air. That's the breath of life that God give us. But they think that they can tax you, okay, with environmental taxes. Like, oh, you want fresh air? Well, it's the air is polluted, it's dirty, but if you want to breathe good air, you're going to have to pay a tax, okay? And a environmental tax. So that's the world we're in. You are in. I am in. That's the world we live in. Okay. And the giving that goes on in the world, for the most part, has strings attached, right? Even though uh, there are conscious ones who give out of the pureness of their heart. Yeah, it's rare, but a lot of us give just because that's what we're supposed to do. That's who we are. That's our nature. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So how did we get dropped into this conditional world? Well, I believe it is to refine and purify us. Okay. For we have somehow lost our consciousness of our true divine identity and nature. And we are, for the most part, confused about who we are. We we're programmed to believe we're like this person who goes to school, um, gets educated, gets a job, gets a career, and pays our taxes and pays for things, and we are so programmed into that, so programmed into it that it is hard for us, okay, to wrap our brain around unconditional. It is hard for us to wrap our brain around taking on a divine identity. And a lot of people would mock what I'm saying. They would say, "You're just this is foolish, stupid old man who just, has lost it, and now he's talking all this divine identity stuff, and he won't be around very long, and then we won't have to deal with that foolish talk anymore." No, I'm telling you, a lot of us are waking up. A lot of us are talking about this. Not just me. I'm just one person. Um, don't follow me as like, oh, this guy, he's like some kind of guru or some kind of like prophet or something. No, we are all waking up. A lot of us are starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, you know, I've been duped. This has all been a lie. And as we get closer and closer to the end of the system, and it will end, okay, I don't care what they say, oh, someday we're going to be this and we're going to be perfect and we're going to live forever and we're going to be gods and all this. Don't listen to it. The master said, do not be deceived when they start talking this nonsense, because it's just not going to happen. So because of the programming, we walk around confused. Oh, there's sort of a longing inside of us, like, this is not me. This is not who I'm supposed to be. Uh, oh, don't think that way. Get back in line. Get back to work. Okay. Um, what if we all started thinking that? We wouldn't get anything done here. Get back in line. Or you're not supposed to think about those things. You're just supposed to do your job and shut up. You know. And no, but then we go away and we think something's wrong here, and we might turn to other things outside ourselves. We might turn to drugs. We might turn to alcohol. We might turn to a relationship. We might different things that we think, oh, this is going to make me feel better while I'm here, you know. And but when we turn to those other things, it's a distraction. And we might turn to entertainment, whatever. Go home and sit on the couch and turn on the TV and get our mind distracted away from the confusion. Okay, and lull ourselves to sleep, and then we no longer listen to that inner voice. Well, I'm telling you, we have to urgently, and I mean urgently, start listening to that inner voice. We don't have any time to waste. You can't do it in the future. You can't go back in the past and try to live a time when you felt all warm and fuzzy and good. No, we have to do it in the now. We have to be conscious in the now. If you live in a now, um, it helps you not to be distracted. An example, I'm rushing around to go out the door and, oh, I got this and I got that and I got to go do this and I got to do that and I'm going to be late for work and this and that. And we go out and we lock the door and we forgot we left our keys to the car inside. We left our, now we have a problem. See, okay, we're thinking of something in the future that where we need to go, what we need to do, and we locked our keys inside the house, and now we can't start our car. We can so, but if you were living in the now, you'd go, okay, uh, here's my keys. Okay. Think about what you have to do right now. I have to take this. A next step is to do this, to do that. You do everything in the now. And then when you go out the door, you got your keys because you were focusing on what you have to do in that moment. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to explain it as good as I could. But anyway, so we're groping around and searching and longing to know our true self. Don't bury that, um, because the world is suffering from an identity crisis, right? But if we don't allow ourselves uh, to focus on who we really are and become distracted by the fake conditional hell world we find ourselves in, we can regain our true divine identity and nature. So we must urgently make a concerted, persistent effort to do so. For the Master said, keep on searching, keep on knocking, and it will be opened to you. This we must do not somewhere outside ourselves, but within. The Master said, take cheer. I have overcome the world. We as well must follow in the footsteps of the Master and overcome the conditional world as well. Imagine what it would be like if you lived in a community that was based on unconditional, divine nature, love, unconditional trust, unconditional respect, work, joy, peace, and so on. That all things were unconditional. Someone works with joy to plant a garden and gives away the crop. Another builds furniture with joy and peace of mind and satisfaction. And yes, taking pride in what they do, and then gives the pieces of furniture away for others to enjoy. Another produces music, someone else bakes bread, and so on. All giving, all giving without expecting something in return, not saying, look, I'll bake you some bread, but you're going to have to do this for me. You're going to have to build me a house, or you're going to have to make me a piece of furniture, or you're going to have to come over here and uh, clean my house or whatever. Then I'll bake you the bread. See, that's conditional. May as well just ask for money. Like, hey, it's going to cost you $8 for a loaf of bread. And, hey, it's getting to be $8 for a good loaf of bread now. But no, unconditional means unconditional. Now, someone might say, Ron, that's just a pipe dream, right? You're talking crazy. You crazy old man. You got this crazy idea. That will never happen. Well, I would like to say to them, you're right. That will never happen. As long as people continue thinking with a conditional money slave mentality, it'll never happen. Okay. And it's so sad to see generation after generation after generation buy into this fake conditional money based programming. So the time has come for us to deny our fake programmed slave mentality false life, because it's just a fake life. You live and you die in a money machine. Okay. It's fake, you know? And the time has come, and now is the time, right now, urgently, that we must take back our true divine nature and identity. The time has come to practice divine self government. Self government. Okay. Divine self government. This is what the master, Yeshu, taught. He came here to teach us self government. That's the kingdom. That's the meaning. Back then, they used the word kingdom. Okay. Today, we use government. Okay. You know, the master said, my kingdom is not of this world. And if my kingdom was of this world, my disciples would have fought. Okay. Like formed an army, fought against the Romans. No. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. The kingdom gets set up through the divine vibration that we allow to, that we allow ourselves to be conscious of it and let it flow into us. And it allows to center ourselves. It's the secret place of dwelling uh, in the most high, right? The center. Okay. Like so it's the eye of the storm where it's peaceful and calm. The world is a storm. So once we enter the eye of the storm, nothing on the outside. People being thrown around, tossed around, drama, it don't bother us. It's none of our business. It's none of our business what's going on with the storm. Our business is stay in the center of the storm. Okay. So the time has come to practice divine self government. So we will no longer fall into the hands of the arrogant rulers whose only creepy agenda is to control us so that they can drain out the divine life living us. You see, they have no joy, they have no love because they are not resonating in tune or not in the eye. So, what they're going to try to do is suck the divine flow out of others so they can feel some sort of uh, uh, yeah, I even wouldn't call it pleasure, but some sort of uh, sick feeling that they get off of draining the energy out of other people. Okay. And because they are so unconscious and they are so uh, greedy. And the only way they can find any life at all is to suck divine life out of us. And once we learn how to self govern, okay, and become the unconditional light of the world, they can no longer control us. Okay. So, in conclusion, let's ask ourselves, okay, what can I do to bring about uh, a better place? Okay. You might say, well, I'm just one person. What can I do? Okay. These guys are so powerful. They have trillions, hundreds of trillions of dollars that they've greeded up for themselves, that they've hoarded up, that they can just like, because it's a money system, they can just like pay a little money and you're gone. Or, well, we'll just pay a little money and get all these destructive weapons, or we'll spy on them, or whatever we want to do we can do, because we got we're in power, and they are in power in an unconscious world. They're in charge. Okay. They're in charge because it's a money based system, and having money puts them in charge. But they're they're not gods. The plans and the agenda they have are are so unconscious that I guarantee you, okay, God, Allah, whatever you want to use, is not to be mocked, because whatever you sow in your mind, that's what you're going to reap. And when you sow seeds of unconsciousness and the energy makes it grow, you're going to reap billions of seeds of unconsciousness. Okay. And it's you're going to fail. You're going to fail, or you're going to be recycled over and over and over and over again as an unconscious uh, sick child of God, that it could take a long time before you ever become uh, uh, conscious of your true divine nature. So, they say that hell is eternal. Well, hell is a condition that we fall into where the weeping and gnashing of our teeth are. And, of course, I don't have any much teeth left, but they still gnash and weep sometimes because we're in this world. But, but the thing is, this is a condition that will always be possible if we make unconscious decisions. We ourselves condemn ourselves by the unconscious decisions we make. We ourselves improve ourselves and uh, tap into divine abundance when we make conscious decisions based on our true divine nature, our true divine identity, and our true divine self government. Okay. So it's very urgent that we we start practicing. Okay. And we might say, I'm just one person in a big world. Well, the best way to make a difference is to start learning and practicing your true divine pure nature, and then using it as much as possible in your daily routine. Learn how not to hurt yourself. It's very important not to hurt yourself by what you think, by what you say, or by what you do. Do not hurt yourself. That's rule number one. Okay. Don't do something that's going to hurt you more. Maybe you could start writing down every positive thought you have. Focus on positive thoughts, write them down, refer to them over and over again. This will help you focus on the positive because whatever you focus on intensifies. So if you focus on the positive, that's what's going to grow in you. Then start sharing those positive thoughts, talking with others about them, reminding each other that that we are God, one great life living us, that see it in each other, look each other in the eye and says, and feel uh, the divine one true divine source living them and living you at the same time. Okay. I'm going to start a workshop actually in classes in my local area to discuss all these things, our true identity. Perhaps you could start something in your local area because we have to start at the local area. Okay. We have to start doing this in our immediate area. These are things that we can do. Um, within, uh, remember too that unless we change the environment within, our outer environment will never change. And we'll talk about this more as these things uh, progress in upcoming podcasts. And I think we'll leave it there for today. And thank you so much and for listening to the podcast. Be sure to subscribe and be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Rumble. We're over there. I use Rumble because it's quite a nice little free speech platform, and some of the things that we discuss, you know, could be uh, controversial to some, and Rumble allows us to talk freely about things, which is really nice. So, anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. And I'm Ron with the Awakening State Podcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day.